ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we have been knee-deep in
Sebastian
Gorka around these parts. There was an occasion a couple of weeks ago where I was on the Chris Hayes program where I had the opportunity to talk a little bit about Gorka. Unfortunately, did not have the opportunity to do the Gorka impression.
Christopher Hayes, I presume.
How does it feel to be so beta, Mr. Hayes?
Well, great to be joining you, Miss Maddow.
I'm sure it's. Are we sure it's not Christopher Beta Hayes? B. Hayes?
How does it feel to have the real alphas back in town?
Well, Samantha B. repurposed my visit on Hayes.
He is both a self-proclaimed counterterrorism expert and an anti-SJW alpha male.
That is not fair. How do you know he self-identifies as an alpha male?
The era of the pajama boy is over January 20th, and the alpha males are back.
Says the guy who likes to go on TV in his ninja jammies.
She goes on to
This is my Chinese court scholar meets Nazi uniform. Very alpha.
Very, very alpha. Turtlenecks are so alpha.
Turtlenecks are what brings Richard Spencer to you in a bathroom stall in Minnesota.
There's actually
Backbone of America.
There's a cooking scene, and he's like, if you're really a bad boy, you put in Crisco oil.
You cut the garlic thin, just like Paulie did it
Matt?
in Goodfellas.
You did not watch that whole thing? That was a big mistake, because then I think like Douchey goes, I'm a bad boy.
I bet you are, douchey.
Let's do the Crisco.
Why don't you come? My wife, hey, look, listen, I'll look at my calendar. My wife is out of town. Why don't you come over to the White House and have a cooking session with me, Stephen?
The Alpha Boys are back. The Alpha Boys are here now.
They're here to stay. Would you perhaps care to play Grand Theft Auto and kill some hookers with me?
He is a leading authority on topics like national security and terrorism, but today he's an expert in your taste buds. Today we are cooking with the Gorkas.
You're going to brown the onions in some oil, or you can use, if you're a naughty boy, some Crisco. So
Naughty boy.
Yeah.
I like Crisco.
So do I.
Oh my God.
I completely thought you were making that up.
No,
I didn't think it was real at all.
It's real.
I shall
Oh my God,
consult
do
my
see it.
calendar,
If you're feeling like a dirty boy.
Feeling like a sassy boy.
I have a Gorka Doocy Google alert, and nothing came up. Yeah, if Gorka and
really have
Doocy
a
ever
Gorka Doocy?
appear together in anything, I will know.
You've got to put up your Gorka Doocy naughty boy.
I know, maybe that's
Google
what
it.
happened.
Do. I'm literally doing the sound effect in my mouth. I'm choreographing that I'm a buffoonish neo-Nazi, yet no one's noticed besides good old Steve Bannon.
I like in our routine, though, we actually are making, apparently as horrible as Dr. Gorka's dad was, he actually did something.
He was a man of
He
action.
was a man of action.
He wouldn't just sit on the sidelines.
He wouldn't call up a Jew to complain about his Twitter feed, as an example. He would ring them right out of their home.
That's right.
I admire old dad.
Man of action.
You could look at that in my Trump University PhD doctorate. Dad, man of action. And how to kill Islam. A counterterrorism strategy.
I've added to my father's repertoire.
Dad, man of action, and how to destroy Islam. A counterterrorism, geostrategic, geoastrological, forward-based, forward action approach for Trump University.
By Dr. G. I say that so that I can remain approachable by all white people.
It doesn't matter whether they be Norwegian or Scottish or anything else. You can
Or the
approach
victims
me.
of the Great Swedish Wars.
Victims of the Great Swedish Wars. You can approach me at any rest stop in the real America, and I will be quite receptive.
Feel free to walk up to my Chevy Tahoe or my F-150.
You'll notice that at a airport in Minnesota, I might have a wide stance, as it were. And feel free, if you're a white man from a Northern European extraction, to tap right by.
The Beta Boys are back in town.
The alpha males
The
are
alpha-
back in the restrooms.
The Alpha Boys are back.
The alpha men are back at America's rest stops.
All right.
And the good, freshly scrubbed young nerds at Georgetown are going to confront him on everything. And of course, Gorka responds to this the way any red-blooded alpha male would.
I have worked with every variety of sand dune operative imaginable. How dare you call me a racist? I know Emiratis and Jordanians and other members of the sand-based community. It's all the same to me.
This is the group whose pin that Gorka wears, which
It's
is
my
the-
father's.
But to honor good old Dad, who was not appreciated by members of the, how shall we call it, money-lending community. I wear this along with my Mandarin collar to honor good old Dad, not because I'm a communist.
His early exit was not announced publicly either, so that could be cover.
He has been reported to be seen muttering to himself, and I will do the interpretation.
Stomping around like baby.
Stomping around like a baby, and he said,
I shall upturn my Mandarin Nazi collar and away. How can one... Ooh.
His early.
Oh, you can't upturn a Mandarin collar. Well, how's that for a cultural appropriation? I met a Chinaman once who said, I upturned my Confucian collar, but I suppose you don't take him seriously. I have a graph. On one side of the graph is leave early. The other side of the graph is Jew students. And in the middle is story.
I was going to mention that you didn't give him enough credit for his mastery of diagramming.
There
in
is
his thesis.
one poll that says, little Jew boy asks questions. Another says, excoriated on Twitter. And then the middle axis says, I work at the White House.
You got the graph? Okay, we need to revisit this graph. Here, let me just hold it up. This is a beautiful piece.
It's actually a little bit better than his
Yeah,
graph.
this is Matt's rendition, which makes it automatically slightly more intelligent.
Imagine being a student at Georgetown and getting the email that Gorka was going to sit on a panel and you could go.
Oh
it would
my
just be
God.
such a great moment for you. Like, they look really happy, the people in the
Massive
line.
bong hit and show up and just be like,
I love that. I love the idea that a whole room full of college students laugh at him trying to use cultural appropriation like that.
oh, that was great.
Because she had it all. She had the media. She spent $1.4 billion on a seat, on a position she thought was owed to her because of her gender and her last name, right?
Right.
But she lost.
That bitch. God hates women.
And as my good friend, Chris Plant, best morning show. Listen to Chris Plant on the
what?
radio.
Wait,
Every time.
Pause. Wait. How do we
Chris
get to that?
Platt in the morning.
10th caller who says she's a bitch gets a free ride in my Mustang.
Seventh caller that says Hillary's a whore. I could call this jingle calling for a program against the Jews. Gets a ride in my Mustang and a new Hillary Clinton cake urinal cake to piss on. The Chris Platt in the morning.
Yeah.
Fresh thinking.
Every time, every morning, it's a dose of sanity. Chris reminds us on his show, And
Wait,
you know what?
The idea.
Oh, your mother had to escape
did.
Germany.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, I bet she
I
did.
know.
Someone might take this clip and suggest that I somehow thought the Holocaust was a laughing matter, which is just
Ridiculous.
absurd.
If it even happened.
Look, let me be the first to say that if the Holocaust actually took place, it would have been very much an overstep. Vagina Slayer 333 on Twitter, who sets the whole press agenda for the New York Times and rest of the media.
How many parenthetical handles did I have to mute the other day
I
on
saw
Twitter?
he has an egg and 15 followers, which is really the Washington Post editorial page policy. What do you say we have a drink later and work this out?
I've got to go now. Stephen Bannon's serving child blood in the West Wing.
Peter
It's time for
Thiel,
us
Stephen
all-
Bannon, and I are going to be feasting on blood and plotting a war with Indonesia. Fuses our hatred of Asia with Muslims. Don't worry, your little Jew head.
I've got to go check my Sargon of Arkard YouTube feed to see what the latest outrage the people with vaginas
They're
have
trying to
committed,
destabilize the president.
against
and
all of
next
our
thing you know, we'll have
normal
Sharia. And we won't be
people.
able to play Grand Theft Auto 3 and murder hookers. For those of us that are too timid to murder hookers in real life.
Seb Gorka
I
should
prefer
do
the video
Gamergate videos.
games. Steve prefers the real thing.
We're going to see Donald Trump return back to that agenda of waiting for a black African, an African American athlete to come out and say something that he can spend 2 or 3 weeks talking
Yes.
about. I mean,